A troubling inquest is underway in Yellowknife. It's looking into the death of Karen Lander. She was shot by police during a standoff last year. Before the incident, police received calls that she was suicidal. Elizabeth McMillan is covering the inquest. She has the details from Yellowknife.
Karen Lander is a woman who fell through the cracks. Originally, she's from a small community in Nunavut. She came to Yellowknife about 20 years ago. She experienced sexual abuse as well as domestic violence. Later in life, she also got in trouble with the law herself. She had a long history of mental illness. She also struggled with drugs and alcohol addictions from a young age. Now, last March, she lost custody of her 2 young boys. She was also being evicted from her apartment, so she worried she was never going to get her kids back. Yesterday at the coroner's inquest, we saw a video that Lander filmed of herself just days before she died. In it, she's sitting in her apartment in a faded brown bathrobe. She's talking about her struggles with addictions as well as her hopelessness. She apologized to her 2 young children. She said she wanted nothing more for them to have a loving, stable home, but she said she had nowhere else to turn. Well, this is a case that has raised calls for better mental health services in the territory. Karen Lander is someone that police, social services, the hospital knew very well. Just 2 days before she was killed, police responded to a call that she was suicidal, and she was admitted to hospital involuntarily. The next morning, a doctor determined that she was sober and did not pose a risk to herself. That doctor was actually the current president of the Canadian Medical Association, Dr. Anna Reid. So we expect to hear from Dr. Reid as well as other health professionals who treated Lander over the course of the next week. And the RCMP shot Lander on a quiet residential street around dinner time, so there were numerous neighbors who saw it happen. We'll be hearing from those eyewitnesses, as well as the RCMP, social services, an expert on the use of force. And the territory's coroner says that any recommendations the jury makes in this case could influence policies for the RCMP, as well as mental health and social services here in the north.